You know, I sometimes forget I used to make videos on a card game. Glad I don't do that anymore. Surely there will be no consequences to delaying a Set 2 video for several months. Ah, I see. Well, I guess I have to talk about bees now. Alright, so for those of you who only know me for Oblivion speedrunning, you might be extremely confused on what an Arakai is, considering I haven't made a serious video on this game in nearly a year at this point. But TLDR, for the better half of a decade, I've been helping design a homemade TCG with friends that we hope to put in stores one day called Arakai. And this is the second season, breaking down every single Arakai card per nation. With us now vigorously testing Set 3, Set 2 is mostly complete, and while there might be a change or two going forward, I wager this video, like the first season, will still hold up quite well. So I pulled the Arakai Discord and just narrowly the Primal Nation 1, so as the first video, it's going to be what we cover today. You did what you asked for. Unlike in Set 1, where your Primal deck was Shaman, Beast, or Shaman again, Set 2 gives you an entirely new class of ally known as Giant Insect. A Lost Area themed strategy focusing on having no hand and whipping their biggest bees to greatest effects. Starting off with the littlest of them, Mutant Pest. Mutant Pest is a level 1 giant insect with the ideal stats of 0 drawback and 9k power. It says that when it's invoked, you can swap a giant insect in your spirit with a card in your hand. And as a secondary effect, if you have no cards in your hand, you can place it on the bottom of your deck to make any ally in the field lose its effects until the end of the turn. Wow, finally the support for impeding behemoth we always wanted! Jokes aside, this card is just an in-theme version of Honest Spirit Caller, with the added ability to also grab face-down cards, while also showing off the gimmick of the deck, that being no hand cards on its second ability. Believe it or not, this card used to be absolutely dog-ass, but where we finally made it a rendition that was actually playable. I mean, seriously, this thing used to discard 2 cards to draw 1. The next insect is a level 2 in Chaotic Beetle with 1 drawback and 12,000 power. It has a simple effect. When it attacks Way of No Hand cards, it gains a massive 15,000 power and destroy it at the end of the turn, with a hard once per turn to boot. This card is absolutely crazy, as with a certain aura we'll see later, it's possible to poop out massive 27,000 attack point beetles for 2 restraint every single turn in the late game, making Beetle an absolute staple in the deck to the point where discussion about nerfing this guy just barely didn't pass as recently as to a week prior to recording this video. So don't let the kamikaze downside distract you. The other level 2 bug is Lieutenant. With an ideal stat line of 1 drawback and 14,000 power, it has a simple effect as well. When invoked, you send a level 3 or lower giant insect from your deck to the Lost Area. Alright, so without context of this deck's aura, this effect sounds like absolute dog shit. So we're going to step out of order for a minute and talk about Giant Nest. This aura once per turn lets you discard a card so you can reach your 0 hand threshold easier. But more importantly, while you have no cards in your hand, you can normally invoke a level 3 or lower giant insect once per turn from your Lost Area. So you see why I need to show this to make Lieutenant make sense now? Basically, his job is to dump all your Resurrect fodder for later, accompanied by his good stat line, makes him a 3-of staple in the deck. He has another piece of utility with the boss monster, but we have a ways to go before that. In the meantime, speaking of Giant Nest, here's Giga Mantis, an ideal stat at level 3 with 1 drawback and 18,000 power that says, when invoked, pay a life and discard a card from your hand to grab Giant Nest from your deck. Mounting out on this and Nest means you'll essentially be playing 6 copies, making it hyper consistent in the deck, and also he discards for making you a very solid way to lower your hand cost to boot. However, aura removal in Set 2 is practically non-existent, so once you have your Nest, he can be kinda useless. Consider your ratios carefully. The first insect level 4 is Hive Soldier with 2 drawback and 23,000 power. It says that during your turn, while you have less cards in your hand than your opponent, all your allies gain 4,000 power. And that's it. Realistically, you probably don't need this. It being a level 4 means you can't dump it off of the ant, nor revive it off of the nest. And while it does have some small synergy with the boss monsters we'll soon see, realistically most of this time the card is outclassed by old reliable Prideful Howl. Unless you really need that field-wide stat boost, you can run this by preference. But all is not lost, though. The final level 4 is Invertebrate Jumper with 2 drawback and 22,000 power, and it is quite possibly one of the best level 4s in the entire game. When he's invoked while your hand count is 3 or less, you can spend 1 to revive a level 2 or lower bug from the lost area. He himself can't attack directly until he does this, and the ally blows up, but this card is fucking insane, and if it were in any other class of the game, I'd question the sobriety of the card design team, considering how powerful other certain level 4 can be with the similar effect that I made an entire video about. But the hand restriction accompanied by its face spawning limiter and neuting the quality of overall, this is probably one of the only reasons this card is even allowed to exist. It's like giving an M16 to a 5-year-old. You're certainly going to be taking them seriously now, are you? Play 3 and never any less. The final penultimate insect and super Giga Chad of the strategy is Hive Terror Death Stinger, with a large 27,000 stat line, 3 drawback. This is where the strategy finally comes together. He spends 2 to invoke him, and once per turn you target up to 2 level 4 lore buds in your lost area, discard a card, then invoke a mutated Stinger token for free and add the targets to its core. The token is destroyed at the end of the turn, cannot attack directly, and gains all the effects and costs of the things in its core. So basically, you get a big fucking 20k token with 2 effects of buds in your lost area for free. It's only restricted that it explodes later on and can't swing face. The token does everything, goes to 35k, power with beetle, can sensitize to the graveyard, can add giant nest, can increase your entire board by 4,000 to manipulate your spirit, can summon another card entirely, can do your dishes, file your taxes, fix my car, go to my divorce here, it does everything. And this is what the entire deck does. Fill up your lost area with all the bees you could ever need, spam Stinger and Nest revives until your opponent dies or runs out of cards, add in a small Haven package so you don't die in the meantime, and you've got one of the most aggravating monstrosities in set 2. I kid you not, this deck lives and dies by how many Stingers it can top deck from 0 hand, giving it a very sacky reputation. So much so that Cadence from Phineas and Ferb became a meme, causing crying that bees are summoning 3 Stinger again, then proceeding to summon 0 the following game with such a hilarity. Add on that the discard is in effect here, meaning that you can still use the effect with no hand as per the theme, making the token completely a free summon, and the fact that Stinger is baited into himself makes him an absolute fucking. Alrighty, a few budge spells to round off here. Eye of the Swarm is a normal spell that sends any giant insect to the graveyard. This is kinda useful, you certainly can play it, but Lieutenant does most of your sending for you. So this is mostly useful to set up plays for Stinger involving your 4s, or dumping a Stinger yourself. So you can also revive him with Gathering Swarm, allowing you to target a level 3 giant insect in your lost area and invoke it, or if you have nothing else in your hand, target a level 5 instead. Needless to say, you play 3 of this to increase your top deck Stinger odds, since once you have the boy in the lost area, this card doubles as a Stinger top deck for more annoyance. So yeah, good card. And we're finally done with Giant Insect. My overall thoughts on the class is conflicted. Back in the day, I was B's #1 hater and wanted to see the deck burn in heck. These days, I'm less angry about it, but I do find its lost area-oriented nature to be slightly out of theme with Primal, even to this day. It's certainly got the raw aggro nature of Primal down, to be sure, but I think my biggest complaint is just how dice-rolly it can truly be. If your opponent draws right, this deck more so than most can just feel so unbeatable due to Stinger's card quality. But it can also be a game where all the Stingers get bot 20'd and they just flounder around like a fish on land. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Don't get me wrong, any deck can break or get unlucky, but with bees in particular, well, there's a reason that Kazens was the meme here. We're not quite done there, as there are a few pieces of Shaman support in this set also. Starting with their new level 5, Odom, Chief of the Shaman Tribe. Level 5 with 27,000 power and 3 drawback that spends 1 and is an evolution. Alright, before we go any further, I need to explain the new evolution mechanic of set 2. Basically, you take an ally listed on its evolution text, aka in this case a level 4 or higher shaman with a different name, slap this bad boy on top of it, paying the level difference between them, in this case 1, then that ally is in the core of the evolution, kind of like it sees materials from Yu-Gi-Oh! In any event, while he's evolved during your turn, allies played from the spirit get 5,000 power and an additional level, and when invoked you can shuffle any face-up card from your spirit into the deck, and if you do, place a card from your deck into your spirit restrained. This card to me has always felt extremely win more. He doesn't do a lot on its own, and while he can fetch spirit triggers from the deck, and with the right setup he can give you a massive field-wide boost, that's just it. It takes a lot to get the most out of the guy. He's not a bad card by any means, but he's always struck me as a card that will probably be really good later down the line. But in the confines of set 2, he's just kinda okay. Alright, everyone who knows me knew she was coming eventually. Bountiful Nature Maiden Jasmine is a level 4 shaman with 2 drawback and 23,000 power. She has a perma ability that while she's on your field, you can normal invoke any level 1 allies from your spirit by placing a hand card into your spirit restrained each time you do so, including face down level 1s. Okay, so ignoring the fact that this sounds like you're just trading cards for weenies, the real power of this card scales with the quality of your level 1s. Keep in mind, she works with any level 1s in the game, not just primal ones, and placing cards from her hand keeps your spirit triggers viable like Village Sage and Ritualist, and she doesn't expend, even invokes face down, keeping her quite versatile for any level 4 shaman without being the overwhelming staple she used to be in her heyday. A bountiful nature maiden indeed. We have 2 more level 3 evolutions in the forms of Aura and Treefolk and Beastly Ghost with 18k and 19k power respectively, and 1 and 2 drawback respectively. They both evolve onto level 2 or higher primals, and Treefolk has Defender, a new keyword that means your opponent has to attack allies with Defender if possible, and when invoked by evolving, you get to top deck a card from your spirit, then place it right back. The second effect is basically there just to reuse a spirit trigger you placed previously, but the Defender, now that's interesting. This changes the attacking hierarchy. Previously, only engaged allies could stop attacks to the face, but now defenders can do so as well, with the chain of commands going engaged defenders, engaged allies, restrained defenders, then restrained allies or face. Adding an extra layer of defense. She doesn't even need to be involved to do this. Meanwhile, the heckin' pig will let you add back any ally from its core to your hand when it attacks. Basically, this is used to recycle your powerful primal allies. Evolve the pig onto anything you wish to recycle, attack with the pig, add the ally back to your hand, simple enough. It does have 2 drawback, but it's 19k, so it's going to solo most level 30s in the game, making it a solid choice for your decks. The new level 2 Yilof Master of the Woodlands has grown up from being a mere explorer to the Master. It's possibly the best support card Shaman get out of this set, and first, when he would be destroyed while restrained, you can sacrifice a beast instead. I won't lie, this never really happens, and is mainly there for flavor. His real effect is that when he's invoked, you can discard a beast ally to grab any beast or shaman spell with aura and add it to your hand. Prideful Howl from set 1 is one of the best single auras in the game, giving a 4k power boost to an ally once per turn, and thus making it searchable is downright awesome. Add in flexibility with the beast aura for beast down or one of runic connection makes this really solid and arguably staple in shaman builds, and it's sure to age extremely well. The final primal ally we get in set 2 is Apprentice Shaman Marquis, who has the typical shaman protection as a perma, and when invoked can discard a hand card to draw 1, or if you have a level 3 or higher shaman, you can expend 1 to draw an additional card as well. I won't lie, her poor stat line does leave a lot to be desired, but she has some amazing synergies with the set 2 chimeras we'll talk about more in the Abyss video, and triggers off the range summoner Jasmine, and even fucking Huramhar and Druzari of all things, so she's quite versatile in that department. Her real advantage over Illidar from set 1 with a similar effect is the fact that she doesn't have to be invoked from the spirit to use her effect, meaning she can just plop down whenever to get a bonus card or just use it for a cycle in the early game, making her a solid level 1 slot to your deck list. Did I mention that in the lore Marquis is Jasmine's student? Well, here's her bestiary, a new aura, though once per turn you can, if you have a level 2 or lower shaman ally, lets you discard a card to grab any level 3 or lower beast and add it to your hand for your deck. In terms of set 2 shaman, this card is quite good. A lot of your level 1s are shaman class, and even the new Yilof also makes this work, and the book adds just a layer of versatility to your deck, allowing you to adjust ratios. It's also very importantly a tome spell, keep that in mind for the title video, and it also discarding anything gives incidental synergies elsewhere, so keep this in mind. Our next spell is Prosperity of the Woodlands, a simple spell that shuffles 2 cards from your spirit into your deck, then dumps top 2 cards of your deck in to replace them. This, for all intents and purposes, is the primal version of Recharge, a neutral spell from set 1. nicknamed Green Charge by the player base. Its usage over Recharge is debatable. I'd actually argue it's better in splashes, as it can count for your Primal count, but in actual Shaman, I'd argue Recharge is better most of the time, as playing this deck you're constantly worrying about your spirit management, and randomly shotgunning 2 cards in there could seriously screw you up. But also could recycle valuable combo pieces. It does its job for being a Recharge clone, and I don't really play Recharge since it's a neg 1, but hey, not everyone is smart like me. And our final Primal spell is Tag Out, a spell that lets you reveal any level 5 beast or shaman in your hand, place it on the bottom of your deck, then add a different level 5 beast or shaman to your hand. Then you get an extra card to draw too. Okay, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. I like this card a lot. It encourages running a versatile level 5 pool. I don't play it in set 2 personally, because it's not really needed there. But man, this card is going to age like fucking milk. I deadass think this is going to get banned one day, as we're going to get more and more and more Primal level 5s, and the fact it's not even a neg 1 to do its search is crazy good. I couldn't be happier to have this as a Primal player, and I'm happy to end this video on a banger. My closing thoughts on set 2 Primal as a whole is, it's almost entirely summed up in my thoughts on Giant Insect. But the Shaman support, while not game-changing at this point, is solid enough to consider experimentation with your set 1 build. But realistically, its real firepower comes later in set 3 with the introduction of the new theme deck featuring possibly the most ridiculous aura in the game, but we'll cross that bridge later down the line. I always summed up set 2 as set 1 with more stuff. And I think the bigger gameplay shift doesn't really happen until set 3, but that's kind of okay. I think these cards are in a good place for now, and while there are certainly some problems I could see later down the line with how cards will age, for right now, it's pretty good. Next time, we'll be leaving all this lousy nature behind and heading upwards into outer space as we return to Astral. Skyrim streams are still every Sunday night for the foreseeable future, and the lovely Dunmer featured in this video, Morona Vey, is my favorite character for my casual playthroughs, so expect to see her a lot for intro skits and the like going forward. I've been Shikabane, and I'll see you next time.